That's what annoys me, is there is no PKX mode.
No, because people had... Was it because of the internet's lack of chill, because people, through data mining, had a lot of the, like, collision data of the maps. It's one of those that was kind of obvious months ago, because due to all the collision data and shit, had all of those were just listed as vending machines. And look, there was just a bunch of vending machines around.
What I said at the time, though, if the person who...
Though the funny thing
is... when Collision had a bunch of vending machines, but, like, there could have been an NPC that sets up
apparently, besides, because that collision data was data for interactables, it wasn't just items like the vending machines and stuff. NPC data was apparently in there, because due to the one thing that has not officially been revealed. Remember, the other thing people found in that data mine, which has no signs in this, is NPCs was a certain code name.
Yes.
Because that hasn't happened yet.
Yes.
So, my point was that it wasn't just interactable items, because it was anything you press A was interacting with NPCs. To talk to them was counted in that. So, and again, well, very, very unlikely, because there is that one thing, the one, that is not officially in the game yet. That means, unless they're just going to completely and utterly abandon that thing, this DLC is technically not over yet. But I would assume any farther updates to release that thing would just relate to that, and probably are not going to bring any other features or anything. But like I said, that it's then, but that then comes down to, I find it really interesting that that one Pokémon that shall not be named, that this is the first time in years they actually have the data for something in the game and have it be completely inaccessible, because they at this point know people data mine, so that's why they stopped doing that. Like, people made a joke that seems to be part of the reason they started having DLC, is so that there would be no data for something before the game comes out, and then you would only get it when it's like actually properly
so that covers the main crap.
Yes.
And then it would just be some side stuff, and maybe if Ku is actually right and they throw in a couple of things. Otherwise,
I feel like the only update the DLC will get after this point, again, unless they just abandon the one thing, is an update that allows you to catch...
Now I need to test something.
What?
Something that got said. Because they're acting like something happened, and I want to see, it's like, are you actually going to let me do that? Because if so, that is kind of cool. Well, know in a minute. Ah, crap. Okay. It looks like it does the thing. Yes!
Why is that a thing?
Woohoo!
Why is that?
Woo! You saw what I did.
Yeah, you don't have to go back to...
Unlimited Terra.
You don't have to go back to refresh your Terra.
Yep.
Not gonna lie, that's it's kind of mid, honestly.
A little bit. I have Infinite Terra. The only advantage of that is if you are building up a team, no longer needing to recharge that is actually quite nice.
But also at the same time, it's like because you have to watch the Terra animation every time. If you're like EV training something, you just bop them and move on. Just bop things and move on.
You know what I'm getting at.
It would actually waste time to Terra every time.
It's more about you could use it without fear of running out.
So yeah, that's the main thing.
Wait, stop in a minute then. Shorter recording because we beat
the main thing. The only other than again without that
it would just be
shall not be named. It would be getting the Paradox Pokémon that had like no signs anywhere.
And one or two other miscellaneous things.
The funny thing was that we never actually went back to properly catch the Loyal Trio.
Because I said that a lot of what I wanted, I was thinking of resetting for 0 IVs on certain stats, and I held off.
Now, this is probably because of how mid most people will see those 3. Most people think that is fucking pointless for, like, all of those.
I thought about doing it. And then, to ramble for a minute, to finish that other thought that was on my mind. So, I thought about resetting for some 0 IVs for certain Pokemon I never caught. And then I was kind of hopeful that, the PK Hex mode, maybe you can edit IVs, or at least fake a 0, and I could go catch a legendary and just fake it having a 0 attack or a 0 speed or something. But then, I don't know what the fuck was going on about, because there isn't anything like that. Meaning, if I do want to catch certain things, I would have, if I want zeros, I am going to have to reset. Dude, that's annoying.
Even though, like I said, no one recommends like a 0 for those assholes.
This wasn't about the Loyal 3 specifically. And if you're doing a special attacking Pheasantipity, people will get a 0 attack because a bulky Pheasantipity.
That's like the only one where that kind of sort of matters because it actually resists foul play. Okie dokie, because its speed is like 84.
Its speed is 80 on the dot.
Because of its speed being...
if you're resetting for an Okie dokie, you're using an 80 for Trick Room shenanigans.
But my point is...
There were some niche Trick Room sets.
Yes.
The main thing is Pheasantipity, so that you can actually resist foul play. And Monkey Dory...
Monkey Dory is naturally super effectively beaten by foul play. It is one of those Pokemon where actually resetting for a 0 on it doesn't fully matter.
It doesn't matter as much, except for the fact, and this, we always talk about this.
In this game specifically, because you can Terra
into another type
that resists Dark, that is when it matters slightly more.
Or something that's not super effectively beaten. But even when you take super effective damage, to talk about Pokemon for a minute, even if you take super effective, if you have a 0, you're often from full health 4-shot. A resistance can get you 6 to 7 shot, and a neutral is often at least a solid 5. So the 0 attack isn't that bad, and you can Terastal into a different type, so it's a little bit more useful in this game. Pheasantipity, especially. Monkey Dory is pretty good at doing that, because even if you are super effectively beaten by foul play, when you have a 0, you really... I'm just talking for a minute. You can live, and while some people
might... We also we're at the point where people are like, no one is running foul play. So given 1 or 2 Pokemon, I feel that might change in a few weeks.
It literally comes and goes. Foul play shows up. We'll stop in a minute, but like... I might actually fly back somewhere and then rant for a second. Foul play literally works in cycles. And what I mean is, you get people that are like, oh, foul play is worthless. You should never get a 0. You never see foul play in a serious competitive match. Foul play is just not worth using. Certain hyper-offensive Pokemon with high physical attack exist, and then certain bulky Pokemon...
Like how because Ogerpon it gets the +1 attack, it is, because of Ogerpon, Foul Play did shoot back up slightly because of it, Swords Dance and it naturally getting the +1 when it wrestles. And Ogerpon not being the most defensive thing, it's a thing where if you can actually hit it with
a foul play, especially because you often see Swords Dance, you dumpster an Ogerpon.
Yeah. So for at least a hot minute there, it did.
And there are a lot more Swords Dance users and a couple of Dragon Dance users. Foul play is not that bad.
Oh, because one of the Paradox Pokemon, we, didn't go after. If that motherfucker starts showing up everywhere, foul play is definitely going to be more common.
It comes in cycles.
Because that fucker has a high attack stat and is weak to foul play.
It comes in cycles. I'm going to end in a minute, but let me seriously finish this rant. Foul play! Literally every other metagame. It comes up, counters a few Pokemon, goes away, comes back, goes away. And a lot of foul play users are often good defensive Pokemon. Or Pokemon that have certain gimmicks. Like, a really fun one, and this is a great use of foul play that actually is really fucking funny. Duraludon and its evolution keep the hidden ability. They both have Stalwart, so you can ignore redirection. And they both get access to foul play. And a lot of times, you'll have a redirector redirect to set up, like, belly drum and shit, and pull damage, or even if you're a redirector and your belly drum user, or, like, let's say you're a belly drum user Snorlax, and it's slow, you can redirect for a minute, pull damage away, and have Snorlax blow something up. You just stalwart foul play and smack the Snorlax upside the head. And this is normally after a belly drum. So even with the battery, you're hitting it for massive fucking damage. And there is a use there. And my whole point to finish off this rant, it comes and goes in cycles because when did that wording that weird. Started slurring my words. When hyper offense hits a point of massive physical attackers setting up a lot, which has started to become quite common again, all of a sudden foul play is pretty good. And it's not that bad to bop certain Pokemon, but we'll probably record some battles, and I might come back to this game to finish some other stuff, and I will definitely come back after a few specific things happen, but for now, going to stop here. Carson can record later. This has been basically, other than miscellaneous things and a couple of extra updates and some battle videos, but those will likely be Casual Chaos, this has basically been Pokemon Scarlet. Overall, it was pretty good. I just feel like leaks ruined the game because they hyped people up. And then people acted like Game Freak lied, but you believed a bunch of idiot leakers that got one or two things right. With all of that said, however, this Let's Play is over. So, Carson can finish Violet later on. I hope you all enjoyed the main part of the Let's Play. Other videos might happen as they do a couple of other updates and things. I will... And I will do some battles. Carson might do some battles. But anyway, this was fun. So as always, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, everybody. I hope you come back someday. See you later. Actually, before we go on, there he is. Yep, stellar type. That's how I thought that worked.
And what are its IVs?
Everything is a fucking 31, except that attack is decent.
Huh, that's funny, because a data mine thing said all of its stats should apparently be 20.
I will probably end in a second. I did my outro, I'm like, wait, I didn't actually look at this. Yeah. It's a neutral nature. Yeah. I actually like the Pokeball for that. I will end completely in a second. Oh, yep, and Tropicos is Mal. I will nickname this thing later, too. So, here's the thing. One silly point. So, the base form has that purple and is kind of green. But then when it becomes the big crystally form, it has a lot of blues. So that Pokeball looks pretty good on it, all things considered. And I just wanted to do something silly. And like Carson said, it's a turtle. This was the Blueberry Academy. I guess, while we're still sitting here, since some other people said this, not that anyone's really watching my videos, or technically our videos specifically for information, but Stellar as a type. The game sort of explained it, and I will try to figure out some other things. You basically do not change type. You keep your type's strengths and weaknesses, but you essentially get a 50% damage multiplier to any move you click, but like ammo in a gun, after you shoot, you lose it, but I don't know the logistics on how that resets or anything. So, I'm about to end off. I just forgot to look at that. It's actually not that bad with the 4 and the decent. Is why I wish I could get something like this to have a 0 attack, but a decent's at least a lower IV.
Though I feel like if everything else is perfect and only the attack is decent, that makes me feel like its stats are fixed. Yeah. They're just not fixed in the way people said.
But for real this time, with all of that said, I hope you all enjoyed the Let's Play. And I hope I will see you all next time. So as always, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, everybody. I hope you'll come back someday. See you later. But seriously, we might do some other updates. Anyway, bye everybody. It's time for the question of the day. And my overall thoughts on the topic. So, anyway, what is your overall opinion on the fact that you do earn the ability to use unlimited terrestrial energy, meaning you never need to recharge your Terra Orb? while that is kind of lame, at the same time, I do think that's kind of cool. Because that does mean you can grind and use Terrestrial as much as you want when team building, so that's not a bad trade-off. You could also use it in the one tournament at the school if you really wanted to. This bonus I don't think is the worst thing ever, but I will agree it is somewhat underwhelming, but as a weird bonus effect for beating the DLC, I think that's fine. You just unlock it for beating the DLC. So, that was a cool idea. I don't think it's that bad, since technically that was free. You just beat the DLC and you get this as a bonus, meaning you never need to charge your Terra Orb again, so you can Terrestrial as much as you want. And the main reason I think this is okay, that can be used for grinding. So, there's that. And in my opinion, that's not a bad trade-off in all honesty. I thought this topic was interesting for that reason, but anyway, you can leave your thoughts, opinions, and answers in the comments. Or you can leave them on social media. All of my social media links, as well as my Discord links, are in the video description. Now, as always, I need to be a shill for a minute. If you subscribe to the channel, and if you follow me on social media, that really helps our communities grow. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I hope I will see you all next time. So, as always, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody. I hope you come back someday. See you later.